Welcome to the Principle of Dark Psychology. I am Dr. Nobody. Tonight, we enter the mind of a man who stripped politics of its mask and exposed humanity as it truly is: ambitious, fearful, and corruptible. He was not a tyrant. He was worse, a thinker. His pen built more empires than any sword. His words became the secret doctrine of rulers, dictators, and manipulators across 5 centuries. To some, he was evil. To others, the only honest man who ever lived. This is not just the story of Niccolò Machiavelli. This is the story of how one mind redefined power itself, and why the world still obeys him. The year was 1513. Florence was bleeding. Empires fell, churches warred, kings betrayed their own blood, and one man watched. Niccolò Machiavelli stood among chaos and saw order. He realized what others feared to admit, that morality is a costume and power is a language written in necessity. In The Prince, he shattered centuries of illusion. He wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if one cannot be both. Not as cruelty, but as logic. Because love fades with emotion, but fear obeys regardless." Machiavelli became the first psychologist of power. He studied human weakness like a scientist: desire, greed, loyalty, fear, and forged them into the first true theory of manipulation. He didn't invent corruption. He named it. Machiavelli understood something no priest dared say: that people obey not truth, but perception. He wrote that rulers must appear merciful, faithful, humane, and religious, but never actually be any of those things, because the masses see only what you show them. And when control depends on image, illusion becomes strategy. He discovered the mechanics of fear: use it sparingly but decisively. He taught that cruelty, if necessary, must be executed all at once, swiftly, visibly, and then dressed in justice. He saw loyalty as conditional, love as unreliable, and kindness as opportunity. Not because he hated humanity, but because he understood it too well. 500 years later, his words still echo in boardrooms, palaces, and screens. Dictators quote him in secret. Presidents act by his rules while denying his name. Corporations market desire the same way his princes ruled fear. Machiavelli did not die. He evolved. His ideas became the DNA of modern power. From propaganda to politics, from seduction to leadership. Every influencer, general, and CEO carries a fragment of his doctrine. And the greatest irony, he never wanted tyranny, only truth. But once you name the truth, someone will always use it as a weapon. The Renaissance worshipped beauty, faith, and art, but beneath its marble skin, blood flowed like wine. Machiavelli lived in the shadow of betrayal, war, and shifting loyalties. He watched noblemen kneel by day and murder by night. Where others saw corruption, he saw a system: predictable, repeatable, usable. Morality, he realized, was not divine. It was strategy. When he wrote The Prince, he stripped power of its poetry and exposed its anatomy. He turned ethics into tactics, compassion into calculation, and for that, history called him evil. He was not evil, he was awake. Machiavelli taught that the ruler's greatest weapon was perception. Truth mattered less than image. Justice mattered less than control. He wrote, "Men are driven by 2 things, love and fear. And if one must choose, choose fear, because it is permanent." He studied the mind not for compassion, but for leverage. He learned how loyalty fractures under pressure, how kindness invites exploitation, and how charisma bends reason. He didn't invent manipulation, he mapped it, like an explorer of human weakness. For Machiavelli, deceit was not a crime, it was a necessity. He saw honesty as a luxury of the safe, not the strong. To him, deception was the bridge between chaos and control. A lie well told could prevent rebellion, buy time, or save an empire. He taught rulers to lie only once, but effectively, to deceive completely, not habitually, because repetition breeds exposure, but precision breeds control. Deception was never about tricking others. It was about building a world where truth obeys power. Truth, Machiavelli discovered, is more dangerous than deceit, because truth exposes the game, and no system forgives exposure. He was exiled, accused, and forgotten by those who once sought his counsel, but his ideas spread like plague, whispered in palaces, studied in secret rooms, printed under different names. He became immortal not through glory, but through accuracy. Because the world he described, ruled by perception, governed by fear, never ended. It simply changed costume. Every age that condemns him still practices him. Centuries later, his words govern nations disguised as democracy. His strategies shape media, markets, and leadership. Machiavelli's philosophy became the hidden blueprint of civilization. Every influencer who sells image over substance, every politician who preaches unity while dividing, all are his descendants. He proved that power has no moral compass, only direction. And that direction, once chosen, defines the fate of the world. Machiavelli was not the father of manipulation. He was its cartographer, and his map still guides us, whether we admit it or not. Power changes. Names fade. But the psychology behind both remains eternal. Machiavelli didn't teach evil, he taught awareness. He forced humanity to admit its hunger, and in doing so, freed it from hypocrisy. Remember this: the world is still ruled by those who understand people better than they understand themselves. And those people still whisper in his language.